will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Hold on a minute. No, we're okay. We're all right. We're fine. Carry on, Carl. Hola, bon dia, alegría. Manson here with Good Morning Portugal Show, live stream and podcast. But I'm a bit squashed against the screen. Hello, this morning. I need to zoom back a little bit. Preparation a little bit ragged this morning. What else is new, you might be saying? Good morning to you. How are you? Feel Good Friday. And Mrs. M is in the studio. Shall I surprise them? Just put her straight on the screen like this. Yay! How are you, Mrs. M? Put your microphone up. Come on, don't mess about.
It'll be better when I've got some sound.
So, how are you this morning?
Yeah, I've been up since 5 because I had an appointment. I had an appointment with somebody in Bali, and
did you do some recording? You're such a trooper, aren't you?
I know. Well,
we're entertaining at the moment, and you're up till the early hours of the morning entertaining, and then up in the morning as a professional, doing your thing.
Well, the funny thing is, it was like a misfire. Like sometimes the internet doesn't work in Bali, and so I'm always like
all of Bali.
Well, no, like at Rick's gaff.
Yeah.
Because it can be a bit patchy, a little bit like internet in central Portugal, maybe.
Yes.
What happened was, like, you didn't show up, and I was like, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
And then I knew that we were meeting at 2 his time, 7 my time, and that's the time we always meet. So I had no problems. And then
this sounds like suddenly one of those maths puzzles.
Yeah, well, it was really, really bizarre because about 15 minutes in, I thought, I'm just going to check I've got the time right.
Yeah.
And I did. What time is it in Denpasar, Bali right now? And it said 1. And I was like, what? Has the clock's changed or something?
Sounds like.
Got in touch with him, and he thought like it was like 6 a.m. this time. And we went into this kind of weird time zone only to find actually that the time hadn't shifted at all, but our perception of time had shifted. And I double checked a couple of times.
You can't run an airline like that, you know.
No, I mean, it was absolutely bonkers because we actually were both available at the same time.
Right.
But just didn't meet. A bit like many years ago, like my nan, she went off to see her sister, and
this is so random. Okay, go on, carry on.
Totally random.
Yeah.
She went off to see her sister. She went off for the day, and she was quite old, and she was waiting for her sister to turn up, and she didn't show, and she ended up like chatting to this woman, and they were just like chatting, and and this woman was also waiting for somebody, and.
But that's excusable.
And it turned out that these two old matriarchs of my family were just sat next to each other and didn't recognize each other, and
that's
just
brilliant.
had a conversation and said, oh yeah, I'm just waiting for my sister. Oh, me too. And had no idea these like two.
Have they not seen each other for a long time?
No, the thing is, they really look alike. It's like looking at each other. They just got different color hair, but the same eyes, And
this is what happened to you and Rick?
It was kind of like that. We were both there, but we weren't. I don't know what happened.
Okay, with all this alien disclosure that's going on at the moment, and when we finally discover that the Earth is flat, we can all be in the same time zone, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in a new time
so we won't
space
have all
continuum.
That aggravation to worry about anymore.
Well,
it seems so old-fashioned, doesn't it, having time zones?
Yeah, do you know what? I sent him like a proper hippie message and said, "Oh my goodness, is time breaking down now?
It was 5 in the morning, and you'd had 3 hours sleep. I think that's probably got a lot to do with it. So here's your
I was actually really present. And
well, thanks to James, the banana slug this morning. He was great last night as well. We had a fantastic Expats Portugal webinar, the things we'd wished we'd known before moving to Portugal. It's too late for many of us now. We're here. But for those who are coming, it's a very, very helpful webinar. Brilliant. Where's that bit of paper that was on the table here?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah, I hope so. It's got the names on it that I need. Right, last night, Trevor and Shannon, thank you. Hank and Connie, or Conk and Honey, thank you. James Tonkins, James Holly, that's James T and James H. Derek and Linda Keith in Lagos. and Jackie and Jerry of Expats Portugal. Brilliant panel. Just relating really insight and experience about being in Portugal is really good, and that'll be on the Expats Portugal's YouTube channel at 6:00 on Sunday evening, if I remember to do it this week. So this is your nan and her sister, looking at it from another angle. James Holly, ever helpful last night, helpful this morning, helpful next Monday morning. So what do you plan on growing this year? Older and crankier. That's really for you. Good. Yeah, that's for you.
It's also for me as well. I feel like that.
It's a funny side to it, isn't there? It is Feel Good Friday, and it's like, yeah, I am going to get older and crankier. What are you going to do about it?
You've already started that process, haven't you?
Very dare you. I am so... What do you mean exactly? Some people will be surprised to hear that. Here he is, the jovial host. Has he got a narky side? Lagos.
No, I mean,
he's giving me pronunciation. See, he's very helpful. He's giving me pronunciation tips. What did I say? Lagos.
That's great. That's very helpful. Right. No, in answer to your question, am I growing crankier? I tell you what I've noticed is you're unapologetically yourself. And that is
that's such a good reframe.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally. I'm just being unapologetically myself.
You are being unapologetically yourself in a way that I think can come with age. You know, like how And I've heard you even utter the words, I actually plan on doing more of this as I get older and older. And
really,
when you talk
under my
about
breath as I'm shuffling away in my slippers.
and when we've spoken about old people in our own family, and you know, we kind of laugh at how they just become caricatures of themselves.
We all do.
And they all become unapologetically themselves. Yeah. And I think you do.
I'm done with this pretense.
Yeah.
You can all go to hell.
No, what everyone sees is pretty accurate. I mean, you are like that.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, you are getting a bit crankier because you are, you know, just like, and so
who else am I going to be? Very good. He's on fire this morning, this man. From every angle. Who else is he going to be apart from himself? How about that? Yeah.
Well, I have seen you dress up a lot. I mean, we've got lots of photos of you.
I don't know if I'm going to be doing more or less of that as I get older.
Dressing up. You know, you've worn my orange latex knee-high sexy boots.
Yeah, that's not a good looking an 80-year-old man though. I mean, each to their own, but I'm not sure I'm going to be doing more of that.
You've worn my tights, you've worn my bra.
I might wear your tights as I get older, especially in the winter, but not for any fashion.
I mean, it was for panto, so I mean that's fair enough.
Is my defense in life. It was for panto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like many years ago, we had this brilliant, like we were working on this amazing place called Hannah's at Silhane.
We have friends here now.
Who are from those Hannah's days, and there were lots and lots of like spare rooms that weren't inhabited and weren't being used, and there was also this repository of fancy dress clothes that nobody really took ownership of.
Different to a suppository.
One thing that Carl does really, really well is when he sees resources, he just uses them. Like he just thinks, oh, that's a good idea, and he just runs with it. And so he set up this thing called the Imaginarium, and this was a charitable trust to raise awareness and raise funds, and actually to give people with additional needs much needed laugh and support, and for their families too. So he created this place called the Imaginarium where people could just go and dress up and take photos of themselves and clown around.
Benefits of dressing up.
And it was brilliant. And so we spent the best part of a summer there. And every time we, again, instigated by you, every time we had a monthly party, the weekly socials and things, people would just like ransack it.
Yeah,
it was a really good resource, wasn't it? So we've got so many photos of Cole dressed up.
I found one the other day in a lovely white wig. It looked like I had hair straighteners on and white hair. It's very beautiful. Yes,
I liked it when you went to the Greece evening and you're all in like pleather.
Pleather, but not good for this climate, as Pete, I'm sure, will tell us.
It would be terrible.
Pete's got some theories about leather trousers. I've seen
some people wearing like fake leather trousers here, and just wondered how the hell do they do that? They must get some awful chapping, or you know, when
chafing. Chafing and chapping, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they must have some really sweaty crutches.
There's creams for that. Okay, so good morning.
That
to
is
you.
Actually something I wish I'd known before we came. Like, if you are if you have a tendency to get a little bit yeasty,
Oh,
it's
come on.
worth thinking
Investing.
about how you might treat yourself. Like there are people, like things like athlete's foot or
Oh, come on. People are having their breakfast. We weren't expecting to have a PVC induced conversation this morning. I think enough said. People can leave that should be in the imaginarium, not in the actualarium. That imagine a fancy dress shop called the Actualarium. Come as you are. Right. Talking of yeastiness, I met these two lovely young people who are promoting Sky.
They look lovely.
They do. They are lovely. In fact, I saw them. This was at the meetup on Wednesday. I saw them arrive, and I thought they were a handsome young couple.
Yeah, they're very shiny looking, aren't they?
And I thought to myself, I wonder what they're up to. They're having a nice day in San Martino de Porto. Next thing I know, they're walking past with flags and banners on their backs, and what I think were cold beers. So I asked if I could take a selfie with them, thinking that if they were switched on marketing people, that they might offer me one of these beers, these new Sky beers, but they didn't. I just got a selfie. Let's go. I said, "Pod zero selfie," and he said, "Pod." And he let me take a picture with him and the young lady here. No cold beer, and that is the subject of my question today. This is a new beer called Sky, and it has some of the most incredible marketing spiel written about it. And however,
I need to look it up.
And my first question about Sky beer was: it's 30% fewer calories and 3.3% alcohol. First question is why?
Yeah,
really, isn't it? But we'll come back to that. And a quick booze related bit of news from central Portugal. Savvy Cat Ana joining us at 9. I want to talk to her about her mission actually this morning, because she has an excellent mission and vision when it comes to real estate in Portugal. This weekend we have the Orca Festival. This is where Solar Life Pete is going to be. Go bake your bread. Oh, that's another yeast related.
No, don't even go actually, there. It does. Like if you're used to fermenting, like actual things, not yourself. If you do things like brews like kombucha and kefir and things like that, that's also something you need to take into consideration.
Yes.
And also if you do sourdough,
because
everything changes because
Sky is a wheat beer. That's not going to help, is it?
No, that's going to make it worse.
Probably you need gin, don't you, to cut through all of that stuff. Anyway, Orca. It is the 4th, 5th. So it's starting today, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's an elaborate poster here. Festa em honra de Nossa Senhora de Oliveira, and Pete will be there. Is he actually mentioned in the listing here? Because we've got Coragem, we've got. Is this Dados Viciados? The Vicious Dads, that's very different. That's almost the other end of the dad joke spectrum, isn't it? Are they maybe a new wave band who've changed over the years? Banba, I'm struggling to read some of these band names here. Banda, they're called. Of course, they're called Banda. The band called The Band. And all sorts of wonderful things like fireworks as well. Pyrotechnia, the Speras will be there. I think they're finishing the evening on the 6th and the 5th as well.
God, I've got a dad joke coming in.
Pete, of course, will be there. And yes, well done. Good timing. And thanks for pointing that out. Otherwise, that'd have been completely out of context. Have a whale of a time at the Orca Festival. Very good, Coach Turner.
Bit early for
you
dad
and your
jokes,
comments in just a moment. Well, yeah, we will definitely be going to a dad joke free for all from 9:30. I don't know if Anna will be wanting to join us for that. The Comissão de Festas 2023 Nossa Senhora de Oliveira Orca. It's the green carpet, or is that one of Pete's tea towels for making his glasses sparkle? No breathing on the glasses, Pete. You're not allowed to do that anymore as a barkeeper, are you? Just like and then give it a wipe. What can I get you? He's running the bar. He's running the cocktail bar. Yeah, he's a bit nervous.
Really?
He says, I just don't know Pete as a nervous person, frankly. I think I'm sure you'll ace it.
Just imagine you're back in the classroom and
really,
like you at the back.
What do you
just
want?
Stop.
And
just
a board rubber. If people are just messing
Get
about.
ready to like lob a board rubber at their head.
Yeah, all of those.
That's how they did it at
there
school.
You go, transferable skills.
Yeah, you've got the skill set already.
Yeah,
you can like silence everyone if you need to. Put them in detention.
Marvelous.
All and right. pay attention to the people you want to serve first.
Right. Well,
Easy.
let's say well done. Thank you for that. No need to be nervous anymore, Pete. You've been sorted out there. Hola, bon dia a todos, including Filomena this morning, who's telling Pete, "You'll rock. You'll be the best barman Orca ever had." Oh, that's nice, isn't it? And I think further advice as well from Filomena. The question of the Learn About Portugal question yesterday was in your honor and about you, Filomena. I don't know if you saw that, but she says, "Don't worry, they'll drink anything." After he's gone to all that effort, but he is. I think he's put a Beral cocktail in at your suggestion, possibly as
My
well.
suggestion.
Yeah, because we were talking about the cocktails that Pete was thinking of were great cocktails, but they weren't necessarily Portuguese. And I think you mentioned popping some Beral in the cocktail. Maybe you didn't. Maybe someone else.
No, I don't think it was me.
Okay. We all become ourselves. Going back to your earlier comments, because we don't care what other people think so much as you get older. It's true then.
I imagine that would be a real freedom.
Yeah, you're not there yet.
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Marcus, PT Country Bear.
You are, though, aren't you?
I'm getting there, getting there. Lee is in. Good morning, people. Sarah Yerman. Let's do a few quickie hellos this morning because we've got Siobhan arriving any minute now. Good morning, all. Hello, Louisa from Nuno. Nuno was brilliant again last night on the Dream Team session, which was very, very good. Our old mate Luis Duarte from GIR was there as well. He's such a lovely fella. Morning, Louisa. I was looking for your chat with Rick. Did it happen?
No, it's been postponed to next week.
They went into some sort of funny.
Yeah, we went into a time zone.
Space-time continuum kink.
Something went wrong with the force.
Look, there you go. You'll rock. You'll be the best barman Orca ever.
Absolutely.
And have a whale of a time, of course. Penny's here. Look, Penny is here. Bon dia. Lovely to see you, Penny. Two viewings on our cottage this morning. Good luck with those.
That's good.
Just dropping in briefly to say hi.
We are having fun with your family.
We are. And your grandson, he's just fitting in
brilliantly.
He's lovely. He's just fitting in brilliantly with the kids here.
Yeah.
We all become more ourselves because we don't. Oh, I've already read that, but that's part of growing old as well, isn't it?
That's you getting more like yourself, not caring.
Have I read this yet? Have I had my medication yet today? Brian is in as well. Good morning to you, Brian. Bon dia, Gumpers. How's it going? And from Pete to Lee, who's in. Feeling for you with the traffic. Must be quite an unusual atmosphere in Lisbon. Is he not happy? Is he moaning about that?
Why is it? Is the Pope arrived?
Papa's there, yeah. And we had a bit of a laugh about that last night with Daniel. I'll tell you why in just a moment. But Lee's saying the city was crazy busy. Pope's in town, but my dinner was fantastic. Is there a connection? I wonder. Maybe he had communion. The train home was mental. And last night, then, I was saying to Daniel, who has met the president, does he shake everybody's hand quite as vigorously as he did when he met President Trump, for example, or the Pope 2 days ago? If you see a video of Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa greeting the Pope, you will see him grab both his hands. The Pope is in the wheelchair. At a physical disadvantage in the wheelchair on the tarmac with his minders and helpers, an array, like an array of bodyguards and priests. So it's a good look, frankly. Marcelo strides up to him, grabs him both hands, and starts shaking him. And you're thinking, okay, that's enough now. The Pope is rocking in his the Pope is rocking in his wheelchair. Stop now. And Daniel said, I hope that the Pope had a chat with Nuno and got insurance to help with the shoulder dislocation that he might have experienced. It's bizarre. But I hope the Pope's okay. The president really loosened him up.
I mean, he did a kind of.
Who did?
With Trump, didn't he?
No, he got a hold of Trump, and they were alpha mailing each other around the room pretty much by the end of the hand. Yeah, it was almost.
Who was it that did? Like someone did that to Trump here.
Did they?
Yeah, not quite like.
Well, the president gave him a run for his money, a shake for his money, definitely. That's another one worth looking up online. I might have to make a compilation of these. Or maybe in later life, when he's not the president anymore, he can go around doing sort of handshaking competitions and so on, although that does lend itself to other euphemisms, which we will not enter into. Jean's here as well. Hola, bon dia, todos, bon dia, feliz sexta-feira. And Brian's in, Filomena, Sarah. Sarah's seen a lot of pleather pants.
Really?
Yeah, that must be the North American use of the word pants, mustn't it? as in not as in underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want pleather underwear, do you? I don't
Oh
think.
my
Well, maybe
goodness.
some people do. And
Some people
it's
might enjoy
their
that
life.
like
It's their
level
life.
of kink.
Yeah, my ulterior motive selfie. Yeah. Do you think that's a bit disingenuous of me to rush up to two glamorous young people promoting beer only to then cast nasturtiums at their product? They don't care. I don't suppose they
Do you know what?
Sky.
When I saw that in the in our filing,
Yeah.
I thought you'd actually just
Run away with the circus.
No,
Finally.
I actually thought you'd taken a headshot and stuck it on that photo with
No,
those
it's
two
really.
people.
I mean, I did
Because you look quite far away from them. They didn't do a very good selfie. They could have got much closer to you.
Maybe I was distancing myself already at that point.
Yeah.
There's someone bursting into the studio. Is it a child? Is it
I think
a
it might be a
kitten?
child because
But muito obrigado, Carl. Not at all. I have a great time. I don't know what the equivalent of break a leg is to wait for your bartender. Shake it up, I guess, or something like that. Cut some lemon. Bom dia, quente em Algarve. Active fim de semana. Careful. Very hot air. Thank you, Laura. Lovely to see you. Great to see you. And Pam as well, joining us much more. It's good to see Pam. And you're counting down to the big music event in Alcobaça with Zutush and Pontapsh will be there as well. Look at when the fireworks are. Are you kidding me, Pete? Those were the green fabric was the t-shirts for the festa. Look at when the fireworks are. 4 in the morning and 5:30 in the morning. Great t-shirt, Pete. Good morning. Oh my word. Okay. See you in a bit. See you in a bit, Mum. Yeah. Okay. Got a situation here. You have a fight with a kitten. Good morning. Viciados means addicts. Okay. The dad addicts. Is that right? I just looked it up. And since it's Friday, here's another dad joke inspired by Carl when he responded to something. Are you just a tied up old rope? No, I'm afraid not. Sorry, no warning issued this morning. We're straight into them. And I think it might have been Frank, but you're absolutely right. I have put in a Beryl cocktail. Yes, want to know how that goes. And do send photos, Pete, if you will. Nunu is always brilliant. Capital ALWAYS, brilliant, from fanboy James. Bayrande or Bayrandre, bon dia Malta. Ferry boats, can't wait to get back to my beautiful family and the beautiful Bayrada. I know, fantastic. Looking forward to. Let's meet up again soon, Bayrande. And in the meantime, he's continuing to give us fantastic service with the Gumper map, and there are events to look at for this weekend as well. Souza. What's that then? What have I said wrong now? I wonder. Marcelo Rebelo de Souza. Not de Souza. It's a hard habit to get out of that. When you've been brought up Britishly and you say de Souza and you say other people's words in the way you want to say them because you're bloody well British, I have a lifetime of saying de Souza, and it's a hard one to shake off, so to speak. But thank you very much, Souza. Having a last-minute tidy round, ready for a house viewing. That's 2 lots of house viewing this morning, and random. We've got planning a road trip next April and want to join in the 50th anniversary celebrations of the Carnation Revolution somewhere. Any suggestions? Preferably not Lisbon. Well, I think it'll be celebrated everywhere. When I've got very excited about that, I've noticed that my Portuguese friends seem less excited and perhaps a little bit cynical about it. We shall see. Don't worry. We will make sure that we are involved in some way with the countdown to the 50th celebrations. But certainly our 49th celebrations, we were a lot more keen and energetic about it than a lot of Portuguese people seem to be. But we'll keep you informed with that, Coach Ten, and we'll head back to your wonderful information in just a moment. And yours, T-Duck, as well. Good morning to you. Morning all from Dougie as well. And from Pete to Coach Ten, I can thoroughly recommend Pampilhosa de Serra and Miranda de Corvo, especially with the amazing Filomena and her wonderful family. You will have a great time. But I wonder, is Filomena doing anything particular for the Carnation Revolution commemoration? 50 years. Igualmente with the Souza thing. Yeah, thank you very much. Have I said something else? No, that's just 2 things so far. Okay, let's get back up to the top. We're still waiting for, we've got Savvy Cat Ana joining us. I'm sure I've sent Savvy Cat Ana and Siobhan the links, but we shall see. With 4 minutes to go until 9 o'clock, let's have a quick look at the deep thought of the day. We had T-Duck in at 8:01. With a Feliz Sexta-feira, the first to put the sex in Sexta-feira today, and the end of Pope Week It's Pope Week, everybody. Deep thought. Absolute truth must be unchangeable. Well, it's the very definition, isn't it? Get away from me with your subjective truth, a contradiction in terms. I guess that's a truth rather than the truth. Oh, me and Garvo will be debating that till the end of time, I'm sure. But I mean, it's self-evident, isn't it? That or it is defined as such. It can only be an absolute truth if it is unchangeable. If it's changeable, then it can't be the truth. Pope, that's me. That's me pontificating there, not Pope St. Pius X, born Giuseppe Melchior Sarto. Melchior, what a great name. Sarto was head of the Catholic Church from August 1903 until his death in 1914. He's known for opposing modernist interpretations of Catholic doctrine, a traditionalist then. The Kane Sabia this morning, thank you for that, T-Duck. The Kane Sabia is about CTT. Who's going to be first to make the joke that some of those letters sent 500 years ago when it began still haven't arrived? Came up last night, actually, on the webinar. 7 weeks was one of the, I think there were two packages that didn't arrive for 7 weeks, as reported by Linda and Derek. I don't know if I've sent anything in the near 6 years that I've been here in Portugal. I've used the post office for various reasons, but mainly to check my toll road, see if I've got anything to pay. I think I might have sent one or two things, but I'm not a fan, I've got to say. Quem sabia? Correios de Portugal SA is a Portuguese company known worldwide for the post office and parcel business, one of the oldest in the world. With more than 500 years of existence, CTT is more than a logistics operator. They also offer relevant services such as advertising, financial services, e-commerce, payments, insurance, and management solutions for private customers, both individuals and companies. Yeah, it is a diverse offer, no question. The origins of CTT date back to November 1520, the year in which King Dom Manuel I of Portugal created the first public mail service in Portugal and the position of Correio de Mor do Reino. Isn't it amazing that there came a point where people thought, we could just have people on horses carry messages around the place? And so were born the postal services. I guess we've always had messengers, but these postal services seem to be happening within 500 years of us. Is that right? Or yeah, like a nationalized postal service. In 1911, the institution was endowed with administrative and financial autonomy, being renamed the General Administration of the Post Office, Telegraphs and Telephones, adopting the acronym CTT. In 2013, the state decided to privatize CTT by selling 70% of its shares on the stock exchange, a familiar pattern here around the world then, privatization of the postal services. The following year, in 2014, the remaining capital was sold in the same way, making CTT 100% private, which I'm sure would have had the king spinning in his grave at that point. But that's quite amazing, isn't it, the history of CTT? You can find out more about that if you go to learn about Portugal and you put CTT into the search bar. You'll find a couple of listings actually about CTT, Portugal's postal service. And I think Raquel mentions it in her business course, how to start a business in Portugal, which is also there. Here's a I'm just having a look at it now. This is start a business in Portugal. There's a video of CTT and their website, and established in 1520. 1520, back to the time of King Dom Manuel I there. We'll come back to learn about Portugal. So I've got a question about beer this morning. Savvy Cat Ana is getting ready for us. Mrs. Emma's dealing with a domestic emergency here, and will be back with us, I hope, later on. And we haven't heard from Siobhan yet. Given that she's a farmer in Celio de Porto and it's very busy over there, she might just turn up at any moment to tell us what's going on over there in the bay. So we'll stand by for that. We've got a God Squad tip of the day to come as well. However, for the time being, I want to talk to Savvy Cat Ana. And because I realized in doing a bit of research about Savvy Cat Ana, we've been talking together for over a couple of years now, I think. And I was reminded of her amazing mission, which we will talk about now, because we'll give her a big round of applause. And bring her on screen. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Bom dia.
How are you, Anna?
And we're having a very sunny day. I think you are in the Silver Coast too, like it was raining just now, and now I have just sun coming through my window. So
you are in Caldas at the moment?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, we're both on the Silver Coast. There's sunshine coming through my window too. The temperature outside is currently, from my weather probe, is telling me 20.1 degrees centigrade and 25 inside in the studio here. Are you enjoying your time in Caldash and on the Silver Coast?
Well, I'm working. I'm actually almost finishing something that I think will be very useful and we'll be launching next week. That is a workbook on how to move to Portugal. And we will be launching that next week for our subscribers. It will be free. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So is this where you come then to get your head down and write and do those sorts of things? Is this your
Yes, it does. It has a bit of everything. So it has a bunch of questions and exercises to work with and to, kind of figure out your own things of what you are looking for and being clear on the picture of why moving to Portugal and what you are looking for in Portugal. And then it also has the technical side of things, like what paperwork you need, how you get it done, how to do the financial planning, how to do networking, how to do all of those things.
Love that. So it's holistic, isn't it? It's not just the technicals. There's some little bit of work on yourself and a sort of psychological aspect of moving as well, by the sound of it.
I think that is very important because if you're going to make a move that big, you need to be clear for it in your head. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely overwhelming.
Yes, well said, well said. And you've seen this, haven't you, with people in this last couple of years? I was just saying there, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now. And I was trying to remember as well how I first encountered you and found out about your services. I think you probably did a few Facebook videos, didn't you, about what you were doing in the early days of Savvy Cat?
Yeah, on the early days, I was doing live videos on Facebook. Actually, I stopped doing that because we don't have that much of the audience on Facebook, but we've been doing the videos on YouTube and so on. But that's how you found me. At the time, I was going through the groups and you found me there.
Yeah, and I was, in looking back over this, I was reminded of your mission at the time, which I think is a noble one, and I want to check with you today if it's still the case. In the way that some people in this age that we live in get quite polarized, it's like, the foreigners are getting ripped off, and there's too many of them coming over, pushing up the prices, and the Portuguese people can't afford to buy homes in the communities they grew up in. Your mission was to help both. You had this. You had a win-win vision, didn't you? Let me help and protect the foreigners from exploitation. But while we're doing that, let's make sure that the Portuguese people aren't priced out of their own communities. How's that going?
That's exactly what I still aim to do. I can say it's an easy mission. It's not at all. It's two very different sides. So you have the people coming from higher markets with a lot more buying power. Then you have the very dysfunctional real estate market that we already went over 1,000 times, that doesn't help in anything when it comes to, actually keep things under control and not unrealistically rising the prices. Mm-hmm. And then you have the Portuguese taxation and overall policies towards companies that are equally not helpful. But I'm still staying true to my mission. So I still try to provide, and I provide job posts and stable working conditions for my employees. And I still try to help the expats as much as possible not to buy overpriced things. But the truth is that is getting harder and harder because of simply supply and demand. Just because we think it's overpriced and we don't recommend it doesn't mean there isn't 10 other people that are willing to pay that price. And we can't do anything about that part.
Quite. There's only so much you can do. And some might say, you are doing the government's job, aren't you? That should be what the government are doing, is protecting Portuguese people, and it shouldn't be left to a business person like yourself.
Well, yes, but the government is a bit short-sighted. Our government is rather short-sighted, and even the current policies that they released recently, that not all of them are approved yet, of the housing measures and so on, they were designed to help low income people, but they are at the same time punishing high income companies and investors,
Mm.
which is kind of an opposite effect, I guess,
Yeah.
because if you punish people for giving good conditions of jobs, that will make that companies won't want to give good job conditions.
Yes.
And if you punish investors for investing in Portugal and put them with here really high tax and the whole golden visa drama not too long ago, where they made a very concerning announce and try to backtrack on the golden visas and the authorizations of investment that were already given. Well, they pretty much are pushing away the investors and the companies and so on, which on the long term, I believe will have a lot more negative impact on the Portuguese society, because there will be less jobs, less houses, and we already are experiencing a lack of offer.
Yep, so true, so true. And it's hard to understand, isn't it, when you're new to this country as a foreigner, to see so much empty property, to understand that there is a shortage of decent property available and on the market. But that's the case. That continues to be the case. Another issue in this mix, because things have changed in these last 2 years, haven't they? You know, who knew that My Habitation would be coming along and the golden visa would be such an upset that it proved to be? And now I was talking to lawyer Daniel Reyes last night about this. We had a question that came in on YouTube on our Q&A last night about hostility towards digital nomads, which seems to be a thing, possibly in the capital mainly, I think. Some hostility developing, that digital nomads are coming in and pushing up the prices. What's your view and experience of that, Anna?
I believe it's pretty much the same issue. So digital nomads come here with a much higher income that is standard for Portuguese, so they can afford much higher rents. And so they tend to also have higher requirements and are willing to pay for them. But that also means that they are inflating the market, because um, many of them end up paying a lot more that it is realistic for Portuguese people, and there is enough of them to drive up the market. But this is actually an interesting phenomenon, because the digital nomad community, not so long ago, there's an association, I believe it's based in Lagos, that made a press release, an article of how Portugal was no longer affordable, which I found was rather interesting, as you
Right.
can imagine,
Yes.
because the truth is, it's not exactly their fault. Like, it's not the other expats' fault, because the market allows for this type of inflation, and it's the old supply and offer rule. As long as
Yeah.
someone is willing to pay for it, no one is going to stop that. So this is kind of an interesting situation, as they are definitely big contributors towards this factor, and yet they are complaining about the results of them.
It's funny, isn't it? And also, I think it's fair to say that it can get a bit nomadist, if I may phrase it that way, because not all digital nomads are the same, are there? There are certainly some very well-heeled digital nomads who are living the dream with their laptop, working from anywhere they darn well please in the world and having a fine time. And why not? And there are lots of other, I mean, you know, with any group of people, there's always a spectrum and a range, isn't there, of experience. And there are a lot of digital nomads who are bootstrapping their way around the world, who aren't part of that phenomenon. They're probably couch surfing, and
Yeah.
they're getting tarred with that same brush, aren't they, of pushing the prices up. And there probably are some digital nomads who are like, boo-hoo, it's not fair. We can't afford to be in Lisbon anymore. Whilst the government, on the other hand, is very happy to let them take the heat for something the government should be taking care of. Well, it's those, they don't say it explicitly, do they? But if there's any press about the digital nomads pushing up the prices, like the government can breathe a sigh of relief that day because someone else is taking the heat for their incompetence.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. It's an interesting picture as well. I know that the Algarve, interestingly as well, is a bit of a magnet for
The
digital
Algarve
nomads.
was one of the first places where this phenomenon started to be very visible,
Right.
because it's the dream retirement and vacation destination. and you just have good weather all year long, and
Yes.
it's just so desirable because of that.
Yeah.
And back when I was living in the Algarve, which was like what, 6 years, 7 years ago, damn, but there was a literal separation of markets. Now things are evened out, and you can, because of supply and demand and so on, things are mostly on the high end for everyone. But at the time, there literally was a market priced for locals and a market priced for foreigners, and it was huge differences in prices.
But that's not the case anymore, you're saying?
No, because at the moment there is so much demand that it's just not sustainable
Still,
to have the two markets.
isn't that interesting? And from a Portuguese point of view, then, is the Algarve a write-off? Is it just effectively like another country where it has been colonized by foreigners, and it's not even somewhere most Portuguese people would think of living or buying? Is that what's happened there now?
Not really. The Algarve was always seen kind of a vacation destination. It's actually before Portugal started becoming so popular as a touristic destination, Lisbon and Porto would empty up on August, and the Algarve would fill up. But now that still happens, but the Algarve is extra fill up, and Lisbon and Porto are also fill up.
Wow.
But the Algarve was always kind of the vacation destination of Portugal. And because the industry is very focused on tourism, there isn't a lot of other industries in the Algarve. I believe that's one of the reasons that happens. But I think that's a shame, actually. I think that the Algarve should definitely have invested more in diversifying their industries.
Oh, okay. I mean, there seems to be an ongoing attempt to do that. It often wants to define itself as an innovation and technology hub as well, doesn't it? As well as a tourism
Well, I
industry.
haven't seen that a lot. I think that mostly the Lagos with the, bringing the Digital Nomad Association headquarters there. But other than that, I barely know of any. I think there's one in Faro, but there isn't that much efforts into entrepreneurship in Ali Algarve, at least that I know of. I
Yeah.
think Porto, Braga, even Aveiro have been doing a lot more efforts on that.
Yeah, I used to work up in Ilhavo in their innovation hub up there. There are things going on to try and support that, but I guess it is difficult. You're almost pushing against the tide, aren't you, in Portugal? The natural resource is the country itself and its opportunity for tourism. So there's a default to that, is for sure, isn't there? That said, there's still traditional industry which nobody ever seems to find out about, just chugging on in the background, like leather and footwear and cork. Mineral extraction, all these
In the
amazing.
Algarve, there's a lot of clay and a lot of basket work. The
Yeah.
handmade baskets. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, and we don't get to hear a lot about that. But it's so interesting to see. So, I'm talking to you about how we met 2 years ago and what's happened in that time, and it's been dramatic. Let's face it. And you've launched and you have a business afloat on those choppy seas of change here in Portugal. How would you like to see it in 2 years from now? What do you think is going to happen between now and what will it be, 2025?
I think right now we're at a point where things can go either way, and honestly, it will depend a lot on foreign interest.
Right.
If the foreign interest declines significantly, probably we'll have a market drop. However, if the foreign demand keeps being as high as it has been, and so far it hasn't been showing a lot of signs of slowing down, the prices probably won't be changing anytime soon. And on the contrary,
Okay.
they will keep rising on the long term because of the whole supply reduction that's probably going to be coming along the time.
So you do think I mean, your feeling then, do you think it will settle? And I mean, it doesn't look like any new inventory is going to get built anytime soon. That's not going to happen in the next 2 years, is it? Unless, of course, the infrastructure projects that have already started come online. But do you see stabilization, or do you see more volatility? Or is that too difficult?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It will depend a lot on the foreign market's interest, because the trend that I'm seeing right now is that things will not lower. But
Okay.
if there is a significant drop in foreign interest, they probably will. But so far, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Right. Okay. So to put it another, what's your hope?
Well, my hope is for things to lower, but personally, realistically, I don't think that's going to happen.
Wow. Okay. And 2 years isn't a long time, is it? In the scheme of things, I guess we'll be
Yeah,
looking.
and in 2 years, even if there was a drop in the next, like next year or so, probably in 2 years it would have recovered by then.
Yeah, incredible. And of course, yeah, the big influence that you mentioned in there is confidence from foreign investors, isn't it? And that's not been helpful in this last year. How
Yes,
foreign
I
investors.
think that that's the thing. Like the big investment market, it's kind of a different market from the day-to-day residential market,
Yeah.
because the big investment market, they work with millions and millions of dollars and usually make big projects like whole buildings and complexes and so on. And those big investors, during the when the whole golden visa announcement came through, there was a number of big investors and international investors pulling down for business from deals like that. So from buying big plots and so on, because the government created a huge break of trust. And the measure they proposed was pretty much like a dictatorship measure, and there was a break of trust in the government, and especially those big investors, they were offended, and honestly I would be. And many of them, most of them even, pulled out and are currently mostly holding back. I haven't been working with a lot of big investors, but the thing is, besides the whole golden visa thing, the state doesn't really help at all, because the licensing processes, they are so slow. Everything, the town hall replies takes forever. I have a big project on my hand, and we've been over a year back and forth with town hall, and they are late with everything, and they never take responsibility for anything. We can't find them, we can't sue them, so there's pretty much just money stuck. And honestly, I understand the big investors, and I believe a lot of them are holding out and are waiting for the debt markets to drop, because it's a bit of a different market, isn't it? And even if that market drops, I don't know how far it will affect the actual residential market.
Yeah.
But what will happen is, if there isn't new construction and there isn't new development, the offer in the market will drop. So those are both factors that will lead to price increase on long term.
And yeah, that kind of investor doesn't cope well with being having sort of dictatorial terms. They'll just go elsewhere, won't they? Or they'll
Yep.
wait. That's the other thing, isn't it? I think the governments of the world have to be, in some way, if they want this kind of investment, they have to play the game with it, don't they? And understand the dynamics of it. Those sort of investors are not fickle exactly, but I guess we'll just go elsewhere, or we'll sit it out until you've had your political
Yes,
crisis.
that's pretty much. I think a lot of them are just sitting out, waiting for the market to drop so they
Yeah.
can take out the spoils, which
Which
is
is
a smart
which
decision, I would say.
Yeah, but that's not the sort of decision an individual investor can face. We're much more, us individuals, and who aren't the big corporations and hedge funds and so on, have a very different agenda
Yes,
and
because
set.
they can wait it out. They won't run out of money.
Right, they can just sit on it until the time is right. So
Yeah.
interesting time for Portugal. Then you mentioned dictatorial tactics. I wonder if you can help us out with something this morning. There has been talk and a request from Coach Turner doing a road trip to. Oh, here it is. We're planning a road trip next April and want to join in the 50th anniversary celebrations of the Carnation Revolution, Anna. Somewhere in Portugal. Any suggestions? Preferably not Lisbon. Now, when I first saw this, I'm reminded that my interest in this has tended to be a lot more enthusiastic than a lot of Portuguese people I've met on the subject. I'm thinking, yay, 50 years, it's going to be amazing next year. And when I've talked to Portuguese friends, it's like, we'll see. So what's
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the will see thing, because it's
really, why is that?
mostly a political thing. Like, if they want to make a whole celebration in order to distract attentions for something else. They probably will, but
That's so cynical.
I'm not too hopeful on them making a big investment on that just because.
Wow. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, this maybe a sort of Portuguese indifference for us, wide-eyed, you know, newly arrived. It's like, whoa, they had a revolution 50 years ago. I'm sure there's going to be a big party. It's great. End of fascism, dictatorship, and so on. But no, not necessarily. I mean, you know, I'm sure most Portuguese people would agree with that framing of it. But I suppose the difference is in what's going to be done about it. Okay. Well, we've got some suggestions then. Maybe come to Setúbal, Zeca. Alfonso wrote Granola, the theme tune, of course, of the revolution, right? The song that was the no turning back signal for the revolution. He was from Setúbal, and the city's been preparing for a couple of years, so that might be a good place to go. Would you agree with that one? Do you like Stubs?
Yeah, I think Setúbal is one of those places that has been drastically developing. I think Setúbal is one of the places that has experienced the most drastic rise in prices in the past 2 years, to be honest.
Okay, so that's interesting, isn't it? 50th year of the Carnation Revolution, and dealing with its own globalization and gentrification challenges. Another political issue. That's quite a meeting point of different ideas, and maybe a good place to go for the 50th celebrations. Porta de Mos have been preparing for the 50th anniversary by collecting people's memories of the revolution. That's Pam, who lives in Alcobaça. I know in Caldas, that was meant to be one of the starting points of the revolution, wasn't it? Because wasn't there a military prison there and a military garrison? And some of the early starters of the revolution were imprisoned, I believe, in Caldas. And maybe they got forgotten about for a few weeks while the celebrations were going on. It's like, oh, we better let those guys out who started it a week ago.
I confess I am not fully in memory of that. I know I study it, but I cannot confirm or deny right now because I don't fully remember.
Fair enough. And I'm sure, like a lot of Portuguese towns and cities, it will have its own claim on any particular recipe, event, alcohol. There's always a particular angle, isn't there, for every town and city, and the angle on history here. So Porta de Mos there, Coach Turner, another option. Thanks, Sarah. One of our stops is in I struggle to pronounce this. Am I right in saying, is it Alcácer do Sol? So
Casa do Sol.
Casa do Sol, you call it?
Alcácer.
Alcácer do Sol. Okay, and that is another seriously improved town, isn't it?
Yes, it's also been developing, but it's still on the early stages of development, I would say.
Okay, and part of this sort of south of the river,
which is good from an investment perspective. It's probably going to keep rising.
It's very beautiful there. I don't know if you're going there, Coach Turner, because you've been there before, and what's attracted you there. But we stopped off there one evening driving back from the Algarve, I think, and had a lovely evening.
And it's not do Sol, it's do Sol of like salt. Alcácer do Sol.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much for that. I've had a lot of tuition this morning. Bom dia todos de Porto. Boarded a city bus yesterday, extra long with accordion connector between the coaches. I was the only one on board. You must have felt like a queen on there, Virginia. Everyone is in Lisbon or in the Algarve. Hola, Nuno, as well this morning. Pam is preparing for the this is the event we mentioned yesterday, the ReFood Open Day tomorrow in Alcobaça for anyone who wants to learn about volunteering. Volunteering is a great way to meet new people and give back to your community. That may well be written about in Anna's new guide as a way.
It actually is.
Yeah, there you go. Pam, that sounds brilliant, says Pete. Have an awesome day. The communities here are so inviting, and giving is a great way to give back. And I'm sure to improve your Portuguese. Yeah, it's a great idea. And Pam is legendary in that regard. We've talked before about that. Maybe it's time for you to come back on the show, Pam, to talk about that. Susan's hired a Portuguese gardener. It's fig time in central Portugal. Come to the back garden, tidy it up, and pick some of what seem like a million figs. It is the season of a million figs at the moment, doing it for Baddie appreciation and gratitude. Figs are great this year. It's August. This is the sweet spot, literally, isn't it? Here in
I got it. My uncle got drunk on figs some time ago because we have fig trees on the farm, and well, the figs are on the sun, and they have sugar, so they can ferment a bit.
They can, can't they? Yes.
my Greek uncle, he wasn't used to that yet, so he ate a bunch of figs directly from the tree, and yeah, it he got a bit drunk,
Did he?
and his stomach didn't appreciate it either.
Oh, okay. All right. There was a price to pay. by the
Yeah, and
sound-
there's another funny thing because birds also get drunk on figs. And then the cats really like that they get drunk on figs. Like they will wait around the tree to see if the bird get drunk, and then they are 10 times easier to catch.
That sounds like a great afternoon out for a bird, doesn't it? Get home. Where have you been? Well, I ate a few figs on the way home. Got a little bit tipsy. Had a fight with a cat. I'm lucky to be here, basically.
Well, yeah. If they survive the fight with the
If
cat,
they
it's a
survive the
great
fight.
evening for the bird.
Yes, absolutely. Different varieties of. Oh, we've got into some fig talk here. People giving a fig, so to speak. They are great this year. Oh, and Victoria, thank you for that. We'll play those videos in the last half-hour section here. Suze, look at that. You've got a million figs and you don't like them. So many. Maybe can sell them at market. I also need to research ripeness. Seriously, no, nothing. Well, that's a problem. The best way to tell the ripeness of a fig is to pop it in your mouth, isn't it? Or to get.
No, actually, you usually tell if they are ripe if they have a honey drop on the end.
Yes. That's a good signal there, Suze. And why not put a few in boxes and leave them outside your front door on the doorstep, and people will take them away. That's if they're not inundated themselves, because that tends to be what happens there. Everyone's fruit arrives at the same time. Is it not a bit early for figs? My husband loves them dried. That's another thing you could do, Pam, is dry them. Suze, you could dry them. The tree is huge. You're nodding your head there. It's about the time, isn't it, Anna?
Yeah. We already have some in the village, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. The tree is huge and the figs are falling. That's another sign right there, as well as the birds and the uncles. Different varieties of figs and microclimates mean they can ripen anytime from June to December and produce many crops. We have 6 trees, says Pete, and have to keep checking when each is ready. That's a very clever bit of planting, that. So you have a crop on rotation there rather than everything happening at the same time. Going to the local junta office today, fingers crossed, visitor visa, or I'll have to make another plan. Get it done. Well done, Suze. Fingers crossed with that, and have a great weekend. Bon fin de semana to you. 50-year celebration of the revolution. Well, it's not the Pope. Have we spent all our money as well? That's some people were complaining about the amount of
a
money.
whole other thing. The whole Jornadas Mundiais da Juventude thing. It's I've been seeing a lot about it from my friends in Lisbon, and yeah.
Tell us foreigners then, what's going on? Are there complaints about how much money's been spent, how much disruption's been?
Well, there's a lot of complaints. There is a chaos. It's completely chaos in Lisbon. My Lisbon agent, even the metro subways have been closing because there's too much people. And when she told me that, Graciosa, my Lisbon agent, I was like, what's the logic in that? Like, there's too much people. Let's close the metro stations. Like, what happens then?
Yeah.
And then she had to take wait like 30 minutes to get an Uber to get home. Because it's kind of chaos, and I have to share that on our Instagram page because she's been sending some videos of the sheer amount of people that she's just walking through the streets, and there's groups of hundreds and hundreds of pilgrims just going by. And then there is, of course, the other side of it. There has been a bunch of silent protests, so to say, like some graffitis in the city. One of them that's been coming around is the whole, I've been praying for a house in Lisbon well before the Pope arrived.
Okay. So people.
That's one made a lot of rounds, and it's quite smart.
Yes, it is.
Because the prices for the jornadas have been ridiculous. You've been seeing rooms listed for like beds listed for €1,000. It's just completely ridiculous. Yeah. There is actually another thing that I discussed with my lawyer just the other day is that apparently there was a bunch of people that came with a pilgrim visa to visit and then disappeared. So they basically they just used the pilgrim visit to come into Portugal and then are trying to stay here illegally.
Wow.
And then there is the whole child abuse situation with there is a few billboards that were put on to bring attention to the child abuse scandals here in Portugal. That says like, I don't remember the exact number, but it's 4,000 something children abused in Portugal by the Catholic Church, and the billboards were taken down.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, I think that was one of the Pope's first meetings, was with a group representing people who've been abused by members of the Catholic Church. So fair play to him on that. And it is a disgusting situation, no question about it, and hopefully something that can be addressed and resolved. The how it was also tied in with the housing situation. I think I saw a meme that was something like, menos papas, mais casas. So less popes, more houses.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the ones of I was praying for a house before the Pope arrived.
Yeah. T-Duck saying it was that the aspects, the sort of darker aspects of it were swept under the carpet. Was that the carpet of 500
Oh, and
euro?
another thing I just remember was the homeless thing. A lot of the homeless people were kind of expelled, and I've seen a bunch of photos coming around of locations where homeless people would gather, where they put, vases and benches and stuff, so it would be impossible for them to be on there. So that's
really,
another
right.
one.
So this is the other side we're hearing about, and hopefully that this brings attention to these difficulties that were here before the Pope arrived, and before lots of money was spent on a big event attracting people to the city. It of course has its upsides, but let's hope that the attention that's brought to these things, these matters that have perhaps been swept under the carpet, don't remain there after the Pope and the young people from all over the world have left, and that something can be done. There's even on my street last night, some of our neighbours were hosting here in San Martino de Porto. They were hosting some young folks who'd been in Lisbon. There are young people all over the country, it would appear.
Yeah, and someone for Porto were saying that Porto was a lot quieter, but the weekend before this all started, so last weekend, there was a bunch of crowds and groups passing through Porto, and it was chaotic in Porto too, and I'm expecting that to happen by the end of this too.
Right, well, I'm having a picnic in Caldas later on today. I hope there's not going to be any rowdiness there. We're going out for a peaceful afternoon.
We'll see.
We shall see. I'll be grumpy and cantankerous, or whatever that expression was, cranky about it if that's the case. Even been crowds of youths here in Alcobaça, says Pam as well. So it's been great talking to you as ever, Anna. There is an upcoming social event where people can come and hang out, right, in Caldas soon?
Yes, it's going to be on the 11th of August. So it's exactly a week from now.
A week. So next Friday, a beautiful meal has been organized where you'll be able to hang out with
yes.
the team.
Some people are complaining about the price, but do keep in mind this is going to be like a 5-course meal. Like literally, you will have 2 main dishes, 3 entrances, and a buffet of desserts. Wine and drinks included. Like, it's not full open bar, but it's you can drink as much as you want.
You will be looked after. Okay. Oh,
Yes.
There's always something, isn't there? Talking of crankiness, people are complaining, are they? Well, we don't want them there, do we? Let's have the people who want to go along.
Yeah, this is the whole full day meal.
Wow. Okay, so you're going to need to be taken home in a vehicle.
You need to fast. It's fast.
Yeah, for a couple of days.
The name in Portuguese.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fast. Yeah. Abstain for the weekend thereafter. On the 5th. On the 12th and 13th. You won't need anything to eat, I don't think, for a couple of days after that. And you mentioned your Instagram. Maybe you could tell us the website and when the new guide will be available and how people can get hold of it, Anna.
Yes, so we are pretty much Savvy Cat Realty everywhere. So www.savvy.catrealty.com, like it's written there on the below the name. And our in Instagram and Facebook, we are also Savvy Cat Realty. We're also on LinkedIn, and there's also my private profile, Ana Caramujo, that I also share some of the things that I've been up to. So, and you can also reach out directly to contact@savvycatrealty.com.
Thank you. And there's a whole team of people, right? We're talking about. That's another change in this last 2 years. You've gone from...
And we work as a team and not against each other. So our clients are allowed to explore anywhere they want in the country, and they come They can come to us with just the idea of the lifestyle they want to have, and we will find the rest for them.
Amazing. And you're into double figures now, aren't you, in the team? I mean, we mentioned there we've got Diana in, who's going to be there for the meetup week today.
Yes, me and Diana will be there for the meetup.
Graciosa in Lisbon. Who else have you got around the country then? How many people?
I have João in the Algarve. I have Irina in the Alentejo. Then I have Diogo in the center area, so Coimbra, Aveiro. I have Teresa in Porto. I have Marco in the north, Braga and up. And then I have a marketing person that's actually based in Coimbra. That's Edgar. And I have my lovely front office that takes care of the email and the first contacts. That's pretty much our secretary, the administrative Katia.
Fantastic. I look forward to celebrating in a couple of years' time, maybe the 5th year anniversary of Savvy Cat Realty. You're doing an amazing job, Anna. You really are. It's, and then the mission is wonderful, to a win-win for not only the clients coming into the country, but for the country itself as well, to make sure you're safeguarding as much as possible within your own efforts.
I like to believe in sustainability, and that sustainability is possible if we look for it.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Well, have a great weekend. Bon fin semana, and I'll see you next week.
Bon fin semana. Next week? You want me by next week?
I want to come to the party.
To the party. For a moment, I thought you were inviting me to Good Morning Portugal again. Never mind.
That as well. It's fine. No, but my mind was on the food and the wine. Forgive me.
Yeah, that's a good place to be the mind. To have.
All right, ciao, ciao. Have a good one, and say hi to all the team from us. Bye for now, Anna. Ciao, ciao. There she goes. Oh, she got a dum tish. I meant to give her one of these. There you go. Nice big round of applause. Cheers, Anna. Bye for now. And let's bring in Mrs. M back onto the screen. Everything okay, Mrs. M? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to say that
it's
again?
All good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It was like both you and I have got tendencies to nosebleeds, haven't we?
Yeah. It's a cry for help. No, seriously. When you look it up, if anyone in our community is aware of all that Louise Hay stuff. And these, what is it? Not the psychosomatics. I suppose they could be called psychosomatics, but the spiritual causes of physical ailments. Yeah. I think there's something tied into having nosebleeds with. What about me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the what about me?
Yeah.
And this is Solomon, who's 4. It's his first nosebleed.
Is it?
So it's
rite of passage. Did he get did he get a punch from one of the others, or was it?
No, I think he just I don't know. It just
we know how kids start nosebleeds sometimes. Yes.
What, picking their nose,
probing their orifice, nasal orifice.
He woke up having had a nosebleed. And
that's a rite of passage, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what's happened to the other 2 as well.
Yeah.
And like waking up and finding blood on your pillow is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's one of those rites of passage.
So I just
or
sat with
milestones
him,
in life.
and he's fine now.
Yeah, okay. Which reminds me of lies we tell our kids. I don't know if you've got one of those for that, T-Duck. If you wake up with a nosebleed, it means what? Santa's definitely coming. No, that's another lie we tell our kids. Anyway,
we don't tell our kids that.
No, we don't. Let's get back to a few comments. Drunken deer in New Jersey as well. We were talking about Anna's uncle, who ate some quite fermented figs from the tree and got a bit boozy, which is hilarious. And birds do it as well, as do deer in New Jersey. They get tipsy on fermented apples. Geese get drunk on berries.
Cool.
Right. That'd be hilarious to see. I think I saw a Disney film a long time ago with some amazing music backing it of animals around some fruit trees getting proper bladdered, basically. Yeah. It's hilarious. I don't know if the same sort of Disney have moved into Barbie and other stuff, haven't they, rather than just pictures of animals doing stuff, doing funny things, which is of course the precursor to a lot of YouTube, TikTok, and other types of videos.
He's currently watching lots of cute things with kittens at the moment, so he's happy.
All right. Good luck with your visit to the junta later on, Suze. And okay, says Pam. We had fig trees in central Portugal. They were ripe in September through to October. How lovely. Susie's fig tree, biblical as well, of course, isn't it? The fig tree and the fig leaf makes for good underwear, much better than PVC. I would have thought, using an organic fig leaf.
I thought maybe the fermentation chat was from earlier, but it's actually
The
from
fermentation chat. Humans are never far away from fermentation, are they? Let's face it, one way or another.
yeah.
The tree here has taken over much of the garden. It will need serious pruning when the time is right. Once they go, they really get going, don't they?
Yeah.
We have 2 fig trees, says Jean, that are full of more figs than we can eat. That tends to be the way it goes, isn't it? With nature's abundance, they are delicious right off the tree. They also
Yeah.
make a nice jam. Fig jam is very nice here in Portugal, isn't it?
I tell you what, I haven't seen. Do you remember when your friend, what's his name, somebody Fox?
You make it sound like I've got the one friend.
No.
Your friend. Oh, yes, Marcus the Fox.
He came over with some really tasty fruit that we don't have in the UK. And he had some vines, and they were about
He had kiwi
so
vines,
big.
didn't he?
They
It was a
look
little
like-
kiwi.
They
It was
looked
a
like
mini kiwi.
They looked like little kiwis,
Yeah.
but they tasted. It's a guava.
Was it a guava? Are you sure?
Yeah. It was these tiny little fruit that weren't hairy.
They weren't hairy?
No, they weren't hairy.
Ah.
He did bring us some of his kiwis as well.
A bag
But
of hairy things.
He brought us these things, and they tasted like a kind of perfume. They were really fragrant. We made tons and tons of
I
jam.
wonder how we still haven't seen him for ages. He
I
lived in
know.
a lovely little village, didn't he?
Yeah,
With a
beautiful.
beautiful fig vine, a kiwi vine. As you drove in, it was a beautiful Airbnb as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Superb.
I mean, that's one of the things I'd wish I'd known about Portugal, was just how many beautiful fruit, we would come across.
Yes.
I mean, it's quite surprising. You think you see everything in the supermarket and you just assume that that's all there is, but you are sort of awakened to
the
new
fruit.
tastes.
Yeah, the fruit that doesn't travel well tends not to be stocked by supermarkets.
Yeah, like Nispero.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. And you don't see Madroña, do you, inside the supermarket?
True.
But you see them all over in the wild in Portugal.
Yeah.
So you've got to get on the grapevine, so to speak, socially, to
Yeah.
enjoy those sorts of fruits. And here's something we didn't know about Portugal
What's
until
that?
we moved here: is how much sweeter the fruit is.
Oh my goodness!
When you live when you grow up in the UK, you eat fruit that's been sent around. Oh, Nesperas, thank you. Anna's still tuned in.
Yeah.
Nesperas, but they are not that similar to guava. But that's another one, isn't it? Nespera tree.
Yeah, Nispero.
Outside the house where we lived for a little while.
Yeah, and they grow really, really easily as well, because where we've had them and kind of spat out their stones.
Yes.
Like very soon you get another tree come up.
Yes, yeah, they'll grow very easily. Not unlike the Chinese gooseberry, as well, which grows like a weed here. That's another one you don't tend to see in the supermarket, except in a little punnet, and they're quite expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, super expensive, and yet they are just amazing.
Prolific. Yeah. The thing about fruit here, if you've grown up in the UK, is it's all 20 to 50% sweeter, isn't it? That's we're a little bit acclimatized now, I have to say. But if you compare apples even to what you get back in the UK, which tend to have been stored for a long time, it's like, whoa, what happened here? The flavor, sweetness, volume has been turned up in the fruit here. There's a hello from San Martino de Porto from Henry. Good morning to you, Henry.
He's been working out this morning, isn't he? He's got
It's
his
getting
keep
embarrassing.
Fit smug on.
Yeah, but it's embarrassing. He's been to the gym already around the corner here, and he is my coach. He's one of my coaches. I've got Coach Turner and I've got Coach Henry now, and there is really no excuse. And I'm a bit embarrassed because I posted up those photos, my before photos, and I've got no progress photos. I've stabilized at 87 kilos.
There is a reason why there's no progress ones.
Because I've not made any progress.
Because you've not done anything.
And I've not done anything. Apparently, Henry tells me you've got to work out and do stuff like that to get in shape.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't sign up for that. Bon dia, Albiadoros. Our figs in the Castelo Branco region are still green. Who's this? Are there perhaps different varieties? Yeah, that's true. Oh, it's Johnny.
We've got some purple figs and some green figs in our garden, haven't we?
Yes, we do. So there are all kinds. So don't worry, Johnny. I'm sure you'll be fine. And watch out, as Anna said, for the honey drip. On the bottom of the fig, that is. Last year, they were not ripe until the end of September.
Why have you got to watch out for it?
That tells you they're ripe.
Oh,
okay.
You know
the nice little glistening
it's lovely.
droplet.
When you get that, that's
Who
gorgeous.
doesn't like a glistening honey droplet first thing in the morning? This year, they also seem the same from Johnny in Benamacourt. Great to see more of you, Johnny, here. Thank you very much. It wasn't like that, T-Duck.
Tell you what is good is the pomegranates.
Yeah, pomegranates as well.
you get these beautiful pomegranate trees. Like you
Yes.
never see those in the UK.
And it's quite a good cure for not being able to sleep. What's that called? Insomnia, isn't it? Take a pomegranate to bed. If you can't sleep, get a cocktail stick and work your way through it. Eventually, wake up in a pool of pomegranate juice. That's the downside.
And it looks
Or
like you've had a nosebleed.
or your face in a pomegranate. Robins used to eat the camphor berries off our tree, says T Duck, and then fly
wow.
into the walls and windows.
Sorry.
Are they copying the householder?
We're waiting to see our we've got some spent sunflower heads, haven't we, in our back garden. We're waiting for
Isn't
the
that-
birds to come and
Wasn't that a concept album from the 70s?
the spent sunflower heads.
Of doom. Yeah, no, we do, don't we? And the birds
Yeah.
haven't been in to eat the
No,
sunflower
not
heads
yet.
yet, have they?
Last year they went crazy for
Yeah, it
them.
might be the kittens though. We've got to get some bells on those cats if we
Yeah.
want to have birds in our garden, I think.
Yeah.
Fig jam. Now there's a meme to be made with their little figgy instruments. Such the fig jam. Get it? Oh my word.
What?
Don't worry, we're gonna move
I
on.
don't get that.
Yeah, okay. Just come back with a mum joke. Come on, you can do it. Figs, one of the reasons we want to live in Portugal. How about that? The fig. I mean, it is biblical, isn't it? If we can draw someone to a country,
Yeah.
it has the power. Can't wait to find them in the mercado.
And the tomatoes this year are absolutely divine, aren't they?
The tomatoes are very good.
Yeah.
And you have wonderfully given us a crop of various varieties, haven't you? If that's not a circumlocution there. But yeah, we've got all sorts, haven't we? Different shapes,
Yeah.
different textures. A lovely tomato crop this year. Strawberries not so good. It would
Our
appear.
strawberries have been terrible. haven't they?
Disappointing, yeah. Or maybe
Yeah.
that's you can't have birds in the garden and strawberries, maybe.
Mhm.
So Alison looking forward to the figs in the mercado in San Martin de Porto or Caldas. Yeah, Praça de Frutas, the legendary fruit market in Caldas. I mean, you must go there. Catch the train over from San Martin de Porto, do a bit of fruit shopping, hang out in Dom Carlos Park. A great day out from San Martino de Porto. Haven't seen them yet. Oh boy, says Alison. Louise is so right. That might be you, Louise.
I think that's me.
Yeah, there is such an amazing array of fruit and distillations of it. I love the fact I can grow kaffir lime, Buddha's fingers, and goji berries, possibly. Or is that goody berries?
Don't know.
Goody, yum, yum. There's another blast from the past. With their tridem, not tandem, the goodies. Are you too young to remember the goodies? You are, aren't you? I'll move
No,
on.
I do just remember them. My mum and dad used to watch them.
That's so
Sorry.
embarrassing, isn't it? When you tell your husband that your parents used to watch the same shows. Morning, Henry.
Well, you are.
Listening well, clearly.
Your age is just almost in the sweet spot
I'm
between
in
my mum
the
and my.
cusp.
Yeah,
I'm cuspy. Yes.
you're just closer in age to me. than my
People
mum.
loving their fruit this morning. Fresh, ripe fruit. Whoa, so good. I was so tired of rock hard green fruit in the grocery stores in California. So like that as well there.
Yeah.
The key for sweet and juicy fruit, of course, is it being locally grown and ripe. Just like people.
Yeah.
The key to sweet and juicy people is having them locally grown and ripe, I would say as well. A circular dog walk around the village took pics of apples, pears, grapes, one lone green peach on a tree. Wow, that's a poetic image there, isn't it? The one lone green peach on a tree, plus corn and potatoes just coming up. Lovely. Suze, are you sending those in to us? Great show this morning. Cheers, Dougie. I will get around to sharing your 10 years in Portugal article at some point. Again, it might not be today, but I love your articles and I want to feature them as much as possible. Oh, and my column should be out today in the Portugal Resident
I'll
as
have a look
well.
now for it.
Okay, thank you very much. Bon dia, Gomperas from Not Your
Hi,
Average
Raf.
Globetrotter up there in Braga. Morning,
Who
Raphael.
is it you're writing for?
Who is it I'm writing for?
Sorry. Is it the
Dear, oh
resident?
dear. Yes. Dougie's, it's a poem. It rhymes. Douglas Hughes of the Portugal News
Okay.
and Carl Munson of the Portugal Resident. That doesn't rhyme, as well as Dougie's.
Carl Munson for president. of the-
No. I haven't
No,
got the
I don't wanna-
handshake for it. I used to pick fresh figs in my, what's this? I used to pick fresh figs in my friend's garden in Sagres. Anyone who wants to come here to pick figs is welcome. So there you go. If you fancy a trip over to central Portugal this weekend, get a bit of heat, come to Varzea de Maruj between Guarda and Viseu. It's quite the drive, but it's a wonderful part of Portugal to have a look at, to experience. And have some of the figs, fresh, ripe fruit from James from the Mercado, requires consumption with 1 to 3 days. That's the other thing, isn't it? One of the upsides, but can you hold a pencil between your...
Yeah. Can you not?
I can't do that. No, my face isn't built for
I can
that.
also,
sort of
I
thing.
can
My
also.
face is more Asian and flat and angular, and I
Oh,
can't
no,
be
you
done.
can't, can you?
No. Who else could do that at home?
It's really easy.
She's got other tricks where she
yeah,
can hold
look,
pencils.
you can
You know?
do them underneath.
Don't do that. Okay.
Is that your?
Oh
new
my
one?
God, there's my pencil sharpener. How long's that been there?
Is that
No, that's last week's. That's
Oh.
last week's. Oh, and the April Fool from earlier.
Yeah.
The Platinum Visa.
Yeah.
Who would write
gosh.
such a thing? We've had some delicious peaches and plums recently. This is your opportunity to put an aubergine emoji on the screen now.
Actually, we had some really
If you
lovely
want to.
aubergines last year, didn't we?
We did,
Mm.
we did. And Johnny, when we go back to Belgium in winter, we take a lot of oranges. Everyone is so fond of them because they taste so much sweeter. There you go. That's what I'm talking about, the Portuguese extra premium of sweetness that some of us are just blown away by when we get here. Alison, if she had a car, we'll be over to yours, Suze. Just James, yes, exactly. Lots of lovely comments this morning. Thank you, everybody, as we're easing our way towards the weekend. Siobhan's blown us out, I think.
What?
Well, she's a farmer.
Yeah,
You've got to let farmers
She's probably picking fruit. As
She
we
is.
speak.
Yeah, she's remembered that the honey drips have appeared on the figs, and we've been blown out as a result, which we completely understand. Just James, yes. Exactly. I would buy hard, unripe fruit and hope it would ripen well. Sometimes it did. Often it stayed hard, so you could just throw it at passers-by, or it got dry and pithy. That's another eventuality. People are either becoming cranky, or they're and dry and pithy, or sweeter as they ripen and mature, and then thrown out. Here you buy and you eat right away. Yeah, you can't. If you've got that habit of thinking that apple will be fine for the next 3 weeks in the fruit bowl, not necessarily, and certainly not soft fruit. You've got to buy it and eat it, and that's right, isn't it? That's the right way of doing things. Picture sent, fantastic. We've got a few pictures and videos, and of course, Bayandre's events for the weekend to share with you. If anyone has a surplus of fruit, you can always donate it. I see what you did there to your local ReFood or other similar organizations. There are hungry people in Portugal who will be glad of that. So see if you can do that. Maybe Suze as well. Bye. We'll finish later. She just can't take any more. She's got to come back to the replay. And I think some people, others have a break. They come back and watch the end of the replay. Algarve Laura Puntin, great to see you here this morning. So let's have a look at Anna's still communicating with us. How wonderful. I'll be making a reel about my aunt's produce and cultures somewhere next week.
That
Cheers,
sounds
Anna.
amazing.
Yeah, always send it in to us and we'll give it a spin on the show for sure. Bit of video action then from Victoria. And stills. She sent us some lovely stills as well.
So what was shared about the Pope and his visit? Is he being well received? Are people excited?
Well, as you would expect.
Are people a little bit like,
Well, no, some people are. You know, there is a whole range. You know, with big figures come big reactions, right? It's the same, isn't it? In all walks of life, and there is a dark side. No one would deny that. I don't think about the Catholic Church, and some people have brought attention to.
And what do they call him, Papa?
They? Who are you talking about?
No, like you know, how is he referred to in the media? Is it like what?
I think Papa, yeah, Papa. Which every time I see that, I just want to sing "Papa Don't Preach," don't you?
I always think Papa Secco because he's looking a bit.
Papa Secco. I don't think you should call him Papa Secco
because he's a bit old, like he's dried out. No offense
he
to
can't
anyone.
help being old, can he? I mean, that's just
Well, yeah, it happens to us all.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
How would you like it being called Papa Secco?
I'm sure there are people
He's
that go,
I mean,
oh my God, look at her. She's starting to look a bit
she's a right old
dried
Papa
out.
Secco. Maybe Anna can help us with that. Like Portuguese foods that people get likened to.
From juicy figs to big figures.
Enjoy being a juicy fig. If that's the time of your life, enjoy being a juicy fig.
Do you know what?
One day you will be a Papa Secco.
Very, very recently. Well, yeah, not in the not too distant past. Carl described me as a plum that was
oh dear, what have I done?
Just ever so slightly just past my ripe point.
I'm sure I would never have said it
no,
quite
no,
like
no,
that.
No, you said no, you're not like a firm, smooth plum, but you're at the sweetest point now.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you added that last bit. Yeah. I mean, you are the fruit that should be eaten.
Yes. There you go.
And not left to turn into a seeping You get the picture.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the fruit bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I suspect you're not the only one here in that regard. Anna, help me, please. Okay. And everyone help me. Pete sent in some pictures of his
We just say Papa.
of his cucumbers. We just say Papa and not Papa Seco. Okay,
Yeah, fair enough.
Thank you very much, Anna. We should have kept Anna on the screen, really, shouldn't we? I'm going to show you the video that I've been promising for the last 3 minutes. Here is Victoria out and about in the Algarve. It's brief. There was a paraglider behind, I think, wasn't there? And maybe a bit more here, I think, of some water sports. Don't get excited, Pete. Did you see the sparkle on the water?
Yeah.
We had that yesterday, didn't we? We were swimming in the sea yesterday, and there was quite a swell, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And there was a moment when I had been jostled by a wave.
Yeah.
And I looked back towards the shore, and the wave had thrown up a dust of sparkling water. And it was a really magical moment to realize that I'd survived, for one thing, and that there was this beautiful, just a magical moment. You know, there are hundreds, thousands of people on the beach, and you can have that little moment, eternal moment, can't you? Because the sea is so magical and so terrifying as well.
Yeah.
And there are these moments on the beach, aren't there, where you can see, you know, suddenly you have a spiritual moment of seeing that there are billions of grains of sand, or you find something in the sand that catches your eye, or the way the water glistens. And it's just this is why people, I think, are drawn to the beach and the sea, because you can have, in the midst of hundreds, thousands of people, you can have a little eternal moment, a spiritual moment there. And that happened to me yesterday as I had my back towards the sea and a big wave had just crashed onto the beach.
I mean, it was really great. I mean, it's the wildest I've seen the waves at San Martin.
Yeah, definitely.
Not,
and the water was coming way into the beach as well, wasn't it? It was quite exciting yesterday.
And we were kind of being, dare I say it, it was like there was a very there was a very strong sucking action going on with the waves. It was like all the waves were crashing, and there was this like undercurrent,
literally
kind of like it felt like we were being sucked backwards. And then more waves. It was beautiful.
It was really, a really lovely day.
It was really quite magical.
Yeah.
And the kids were loving it, weren't they?
They were. And what else did we experience on the beach, which you must do on a Portuguese beach yesterday?
Bolo.
I beg your pardon. Bolos. We're talking bolos again here.
Plural. Yeah.
And I spoke to the guy from Atelier de Dos in Portuguese. I was really proud of myself. And we had a little bit of English, a little bit of Portuguese. But this lovely young man came along with his Atelier de Dos box of their wonderful bolos de Belém, which the ovo, the traditional custard one, the Nutella, and there was another one. The kids loved it, and it's a traditional thing to do on the beach here, isn't it? Is to have a bolo de Belém.
It's so weird because, like, to me, like the thought of having any kind of like baked goods on the beach just feels a bit weird, you know, because they're like it's a bit too hot and a bit too sweet. I think I don't know, tasty bit of fruit or.
No, you see, do you know why the Portuguese eat bolos de Belém on the beach?
Why?
It's because if you get sand on it, you've no idea. it's that you're crunching away on sugar or sand, and you've no idea. That's a good point. That's the whole reason. And the custard blends in with the sand as well. So I think that's the reason why. Anna, I'm sure, will tell us in chat if that is true. Here is more photography from the Algarve.
Wow, where's that?
I will tell you in just a moment. Lots of lovely photos coming in. We'll look at your cucumber in just a minute, Pete. Don't worry about that. Your cucumber and tomatoes. Tomate, I think, do have a double meaning in Portuguese, by the way. And we'll be looking at your bumper crop in just a minute, Pete. But I want to find out, this is from Victoria. Or are they? Yes, they are. These came in yesterday from Victoria. That's why I couldn't find them momentarily. This is Algesur. Now, we've been to this part of Portugal. Do you remember when we parked up the car and we could hear the Atlantic over the edge of the cliff? And we walked to the edge of the cliff and there was this incredibly dramatic scene. Not unlike this, but a lot more sea action going on. It's amazing down there in that part of the Algarve. which I think this is what you could describe as the northern Algarve, isn't it? As it begins to meet the Alentejo. Look, Algesur for you right there, courtesy of Victoria.
That's so
So
beautiful.
green, even at this hot time of year. Look at that.
So beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you, Victoria. You're such a great photographer and videographer. And who doesn't like a shaft of light first thing in the morning there? That is beautiful. Really good shafting there. Thank you very much for that. Talking of which, let's go to Peter's bumper crop, and then we'll finish with Byrondra's selection of events. Oh, and the quiz. Don't forget the quiz. In fact, I'm going to do the quiz now and keep you waiting for Pete's cucumber. Let's go to learnaboutportugal.com and today's quiz question, which is about this new Sky beer. You've got to please hang around for just a few more minutes and hear what they are saying about this new beer. Also about which Darren in our community said, I tried a bit and poured the rest away. He is not a fan. And we've got lots of lovely comments to finish with as well. We're having a nice leisurely hangout this morning, aren't we? It's fantastic. There is a question that remains unanswered. Can anyone get BBC Sounds? Darren's struggling a bit with that. Katia Lim has just popped up one of her fantastic blogs there. Say it in Portuguese, Chinchada and Chulé. There, always a good read is Katia Lima, and of course she joins us once a month alongside the Portuguesa. And my quiz question, it's disappeared, Mrs. M. Oh yeah, here we go. A beer with 3.3% alcohol and 30% less calories. So your quiz question for today, the 4th of August, 2023. For today's Friday, Feel Good Friday quiz, my question is why? I'm joking, kind of. Legendary Portuguese beer producer Superboc have come up with Sky, a 3.3% alcohol and 30% less calories beer, which has a smooth and balanced taste, an ideal wheat beer for anyone looking for a refreshing pleasure of a good beer in line with a balanced lifestyle. Boring. Superboc Sky beer is inspired by the lighter expression of filtered wheat beers from the German school. This is their quote. It is a beer with a light body, straw color, and abundant and dense ivory foam.
Wow.
The light notes of cereals and the discreet bitterness of hops create an extremely smooth and refreshing liquid with a slightly persistent and dry aftertaste, they say. Which of these statements is not a part of the beer's new marketing strategy? There are 5 statements here. One of them is not true. The others are. The multimedia campaign refers to a softer universe where balance and relaxation reign.
Oh my God.
Please
tell me that's not what they're...
I want in on that universe, but I don't think a 3.3% alcohol beer is going to get me there, quite honestly. No. Sky will make you high, but not blue. See? Sky high, sky blue. Sky is the first beer in Portugal to meet a growing need among consumers who are looking for a balanced lifestyle without giving up the pleasure of an excellent beer.
Sorry, that just sounds like drivel.
Boring. Yeah. Again, it's a unique beer with an unctuous profile, not a word I'd have chosen, in response to a specific consumer desire and in an offering that didn't exist in Portugal. And you can begin to understand why.
That just sounds so boring. Surely somebody hasn't actually been paid to write that.
They have. This is an agency who've done 4 of these 5.
Do you know what? They should have asked you to write it.
You'd
have made it sound a bit better.
I don't want to get bitter. It's a beer joke.
Yeah, I got it.
The Pit Crystal wheat beer has been developed from scratch, though an innovative and challenging process. I beg your pardon.
Sorry.
Yes, we've got to quote them correctly here. The Crystal wheat beer has been developed from scratch through an innovative and challenging process in which all the Superboc Group's brewing expertise has been applied. One of those is not true. We'll leave that hanging there. No idea, but low alcohol and less calories. Nah, says one commentator. I tried it and poured away after a few sips. Is this going to be their moment?
What I have to ask myself is, I mean, I'm not a huge beer drinker to be fair, but so I'm really not like one that can really freely speak about it with any sort of expertise. But usually when something is being taken out of a process, something else is added in.
Correct.
So immediately I'm just thinking, okay, so what nasty old ingredient are they hiding?
And it was made like that for a reason in the first place, wasn't it? I mean, why not just do something different, Ryan, rather than
like recently, like my favorite kombucha brand has been they've started putting stevia leaves in, and stevia as a sweetener is linked to
good things.
Well, I mean, one of the things, like, it's used to stop pregnancies in some countries.
Okay, because that's not
like chewing on stevia leaves. chewing on stevia leaves helps to protect from unwanted pregnancies.
Okay.
It kind of
Although
knocks-
don't take that as medical
No,
advice.
no,
if you're
don't. I'm not a doctor.
For heaven's sake.
But I mean, how you could do it anyway? I think they taste rank, but you know,
Stevia's got a
it's
strange
horrible.
taste,
It's got an
isn't it?
awful
Yeah, absolutely.
aftertaste.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to look at Pete's cucumber in just a moment. I'm keeping people here with the threat of the cucumber.
Yeah,
But I've messed up.
I hope it's not disappointing.
Yeah. Well, let's wait and
I'm
see.
expecting something really big
And firm and shiny, perhaps as well. But
Yeah.
I've lost Byrondres. What are we up to this weekend, Mrs. M? If you could just, because we've got lovely.
We've got 2 sets of visitors staying with
Have
us
we?
at the moment.
Amazing. We've got more photos coming in. So let me download those while you talk to people about our weekend or anything else that
Do you know what?
want to talk about.
I have no idea what we're doing other than just kind of being open and relaxed.
Well, that sounds good.
Which sounds
Okay,
great. And
okay.
we've had a really busy time of it. We've been like legging it around, haven't we?
So we'll have a peaceful one this weekend.
We
I
were
think.
actually hoping that August was going to be this kind of almost like a retreat for us. Where we just,
August it was
we
billed
were,
as.
yeah, we were hoping to not do anything at all in August and just really chill out. And
However,
the moment we made that decision, it was like life was saying that's what you think.
Yeah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. So
and the
true.
phone's been ringing ever since.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I don't know. I think we're just going to hang out and enjoy what the locality's got. I mean, we loved being in the sea yesterday. The kids are having a great time. So I just think, you know, we can have a holiday at home, and that's the great thing. You know, like when we were in the UK, if we holidayed at home, it was a bit cooler. We didn't really want to get in the sea and things like that. But
we love it. Who
we
knew
love
that
just
we would
jumping
be
into the sea now? It's just great.
that we would be the sea family. I never saw us like that.
So there's nothing sporty about us at all.
Yeah.
But it's so nice going for a little swim, and that our young daughter loves it, doesn't she?
She's a mermaid. She's a
Yeah.
little mermaid in the water. Okay, we've got a bit of a harvest, you say here, Pete. This is fantastic. So the pictures of your produce. I still can't find Byrondre though. My goodness.
Is that a tomato or a?
That is a pitango that I'm going to show everybody.
A pitango? What's that?
Yeah, it's. I think it's a chili pepper of some sort. So if you like your produce, stick around for a little bit longer. I think we'll be wrapping up soon and heading off into a bon fin de semana.
I need to have a little micro sleep actually. Having got up at 5, I'm feeling.
And what time did you go to bed?
1.
Really amazing. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I think I go to bed too late.
Yeah.
And sometimes feel like I've got up a bit too early, but nothing compared to you. I said, okay, so I'm one more time. I am saving the Byrondres. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. But this is I'm going to make sure
how
that
come
these
you just started changing the way you pronounce his name? Normally you call him Byrandi.
He did it, not me.
Okay.
Yeah, he was Andy via Austin for a long time. Then he's Byrandi, and now he's Byrondre.
Okay.
Is how he's referred to. Okay, so here we go. This is Pete's produce from the farm.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of pears, Pete. Is this all from your homestead? This is fantastic, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Is that some peppers?
Yeah.
Red peppers there.
Looking very
what's
nice.
he got here? More peppers as well. Nice irrigation too. That's not gone unnoticed. An
Lovely.
aubergine.
Yeah. Very nice.
Aubergine too there. Eggplant to our American friends. Pears or apple? Excuse me. Pears on the tree there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice dangly pear. Figs, the figs that
Beautiful
you mentioned.
figs.
Nice tidy calçadas as well.
Yeah.
Nice bit of block paving there.
Yeah, there's
Peter.
no like weeds creeping in, is there?
Not yet. Give it time. Onions,
Yep.
onions as well, and more onions, and some tomatoes here as well.
Wow.
Look at that. Good work, Pete. Fantastic. And I've got so many pictures here now. I'm going to have to delete some before we do the events up in the Bairrada region for this weekend, as well as Jean's pictures of a pitango. Can you tell us what that is? Is it a pepper or is it a fruit, please, Jean, on that as well? So here's the pitango with a coin for reference. Is that going to be a really hot pepper? Looks like a pepper. It looks like a pepper seed coming out top of it.
It's tiny, isn't it?
Yeah. And
but it looks beautiful.
This is a car park. This looks like not sure what's happening there. But people may be collecting fruit or cakes or something of that kind in the Algarve at Moncarapaccio there. So let us know, Jean, on that. That is the Bolinhas de Carlos in Moncarapaccio. beautiful summer evening scene. So you can go and get a cake there. Thank you very much for those. Let me delete a few more of these images so that I can add a few more in. Been blessed, an absolute abundance, just like Pete's Garden. We've been blessed with an abundance of images this morning. Let us know what you're up to as well for the weekend.
Well, we've got some comments coming in.
All right, such as, go on, read them out for me, Mrs. M.
Okay,
Oh, Alison James got a question about kombucha. Not the first. You're known as the kombucha and fermentation lady. So if you could live up to that moniker,
well, I don't know if I am really. I think who's
Jason of course
Jason.
knows a thing or two about
Jason's
fermentation.
the person to speak to.
Yeah, or his missus does, Oriel.
Yeah, I mean, they're having success with their ferments. I created a hybrid accidentally where I put my water kefir and my kombucha a little bit too close together, and now neither of them are working very well.
Yes.
So you just have to toss them, don't you? Like straight onto the compost. But my favorite content, feeling dead air.
It's not my favorite content.
Yeah, it's not mine either. Like him saying, "Oh, just say what you're doing over the weekend."
Come
while
on,
I look fart around.
James is really good at this. Watch for the masterclass on Monday.
Yeah, James, you're very good at doing that. Go back to the comments, please.
Okay, all right. So sorry. I'm trying to download comments. I'm trying to download pictures here. Okay, we're there now behind the scenes. That's a massive relief for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Mrs. M, please. Back to you.
What's the best kombucha here? Well, you can. So you're actually in SMDP.
Yes, she is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are loads of little health food shops in Caldash. So what I would do if I was in your shoes is go to Caldash and just buy a load. There's a health food shop in the bottom of the La Vie Centre, and yeah, they stock a whole range. But a lot of the kombucha there is flavored or sweetened with stevia at the end. So if you don't like the taste of it, I would just try and find a local SCOBY. If you go to some of the online groups, you'll find
SCOBY.
Well, there's loads of SCOBYs hanging around.
Right. Look,
there are quite a few people that ferment here. So
yeah, you'll be able to find a SCOBY. Patango is a fruit, and then if someone runs up behind you and splatters it on your head, you've been patangoed. I think. Morphine Semana, she got fed up of waiting.
Yeah, not surprised.
Right,
I'm really not
red
surprised.
Are still bitter. Okay,
right.
And the patango apparently have a hard seed and a little bit like a cherry. Don't really taste like cherry, though. Unique flavor. Okay, well that's amazing. So we can look.
I mean, I
that,
thought it looked a bit red currenty, or a bit like a red currant or a raspberry or something.
Basically, okay. So let's have one last look at it, and then we'll get into these events around the Bairrada district over the weekend. Something a bit German. Now, there's your patango compared to a 10-cent real size, not an enlarged 10-cent or micro 10-cent piece. Your first of the events in the Bairrada. Good morning to you, Owen. Don't forget, you can check out Owen's poem, Share the Love, on our YouTube channel. And if you want to have a little walk by the river, the Caminhar.
That sounds very nice.
It's Santa Teresa, 6th of August. So that's on Sunday. That's a nature walk. Have you seen the river?
Is it an early morning? Is it an early morning one?
You can do the Alombada because that's the name of the river. Starting at 9 in the morning there, Mrs. M. River walk. It does look beautiful, doesn't it? Yeah. Cheers, Andy. The Expo Fakik is on Fasik, I'm going to go with, or Fakik in Cantanhede. This is a massive expo in Cantanhede. I think it's their annual claim to fame in Cantanhede. An interesting town. That someone suggested we might like to live in, and we didn't feel
when
that,
we got there, we didn't really feel that.
Not feeling it. But it's an interesting place for sure. Nighttime Supercross. If you're having enough of that going up and down your street, you can go to an event, a fantastic event for all you motorheads and adrenaline junkies at night. Supercross there, Notturno. The festival in Mamarossa. Oh, the lovely big plate of steak there. Visit this lovely village halfway between Coimbra and Aveiro. And also here, just a couple more. Oh, that looks really devilish, doesn't it?
Gosh, it does, doesn't it?
That's you metalheads, though. Why do you rock music people? Why are you such devil worshippers? That's going to.
Do you know? I like rock music, but I don't like the imagery.
Oh,
No, I hate all that.
Okay, so that's Vargosh Metal Festival, headlined by Ugly Kid Joe.
Seriously?
Yep. Do you know Ugly Kid Joe? I mean, not personally, but that's a big band, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The Bairradino ride out and lakeside lunch. the third of its kind by the sound of it. Great day out, starting with Espumant. That's a good start to anything, basically. And on Monday, the wine club is the Altano Rosé. Organic, because that's how
that
they
sounds
roll.
nice.
Yeah, we're going to have an organic rosé with Gary and Linda on Monday at 8 o'clock. Riding through the beautiful Bairrada with many stops, many a stop for more reinforcements, including a visit to the fantastic distillery at Levira. So that's a ride out and lakeside lunch. Sounds like a lot of fun. It's the Wild West in the Bairrada, let's face it. Free walk or run at Praia de Tosha as well.
That
We do like a
sounds
bit of
nice.
Tosha, don't
Yeah,
we?
it's very
Mira and
nice.
Tosha, we love it up there. So that's a bit of fun by the beach. That will be on Sunday. And finally, then, in the Bairrada, before we go to a few more finishing comments today, concluding comments, bon fin de semana, and of course, the dad jokes. If you've been waiting for the dad jokes, we've really made you wait this morning. Three Paseo Paradinho party at the lake, lunch, music ride out, another ride out there. Is that the same one? Anyway.
You've downloaded it twice.
I think he's given it to me twice. It's the same one, Andy. You put it on the Gumper map. He must love this one. He must love this one. Okay.
It's really lovely how he kind of narrates events.
I love his little write-ups.
I think it's really, really lovely.
Yeah, I love his little write-ups.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, cheers, by Andy. And
Bairrondre.
Bairrondre Fasik Cantanier. Okay. Yeah, okay. I've had a lot of pronunciation notes. I'm losing my touch. I'm losing my touch, I think, with my pronunciation. So, Fasik Cantanier. Okay, bon fin de semana from Pam. Oh, yeah, and this is all the Pitango talk earlier on. There is a Festival de Sardinia in Portimao, goes through to Sunday. That my mouth is watering already just reading out Festival de Sardinia. That will be amazing. Stop in, fantastic musical program as well. I think those pitangos are a Brazilian cherry, full of. That's where I lost it. Full of antioxidants, Gene. I maybe after a cutting, and obviously you can have any of ours. Oh, we love that, don't we?
Good.
We love that to see the gardeners swapping cuttings and little tips.
And if you guys get some cuttings going, can you pop one aside for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and stick it in the post, and it might arrive in 7 weeks, all withered, like a Papa Sekosh. Hoping to be there on Monday, Wine Club. Please, Penny, it'll be lovely to hang out with you on Monday, trying out that rosé, or bring one that you can find. And Bairrondre hearting us back. Thanks, mate. And great work, Bairrondre, from Peter there.
Yeah.
Pete, have you added the Orca Festival to the Gumper map, I wonder? It'd be great because you've got some nice pictures you can share there. Finally, then, the God Squad tip of the day. I was listening to a fascinating... How are you, mister? You all right?
Feeling better now.
I was listening to a fascinating podcast on nutrition yesterday, and it seems that almost all that we believed about dairy products is wrong, particularly fermented ones. Mrs. M leans in for this. A number of large long-term studies that have... Solly, just keep the noise down for a minute. Daddy's broadcasting, and we'll be with you. Do you know what? I was going to do me, if the ice cream van comes past, it's playing music, it's run out of ice cream. But no, but buy you an ice cream after the show, mate. So a number of who doesn't like a large long-term study first thing in the morning, that have been recently published show a strong correlation between dairy consumption and reduced inflammation of the gut.
Do you know what?
As well as better general health.
We've known about this for donkey's years, and it takes the scientific community
to do a no shit Sherlock.
Yeah. I mean, all you have to do is speak to people from different cultures.
Yeah, but don't worry, because there'll be another research project next week that tells you that dairy is going to kill you just looking at it. Fresh yogurt and good quality cheese appear to have a positive effect. Fresh milk, less so, but not negative. Obviously, those with allergic reactions to dairy should stay clear. Yes, absolutely. Finally, using dairy to increase calcium intake to counter osteoporosis can make a difference, but there are other more effective foods. Certainly, I got in trouble with the British Osteoporosis Society. But shush a minute. Just one more minute, Solly, and we'll be done. But there are other more effective foods such as broccoli, kale, or nuts, particularly almonds. Do you want to read this last bit for me? Yeah, come and join me, and you can read the dad. Should we do the dad jokes together here?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's do the dad jokes.
Right.
Let's see get in front of the camera, Solly, and let's see what you think of these dad jokes. You can do your face you always do when Daddy does his dad jokes live. Did you not bring a kitten with you for extra fun this morning? Right. Okay. Hold on just a minute. Let's go back to the start. There are lots of comments this morning. Okay, we'll put it on the screen and see if Solly can read the dad joke as well. Oh my goodness, thank you. You've been so generous this morning with all your contributions and dad jokes. You're doing some heavy breathing into the microphone, just like Mummy. Fantastic. Okay. Where are the dad jokes gone? Okay, this is a bit big, isn't it, to read for a 4-year-old? But I don't know. Can you read any of this, Bongo? Words? Yeah.
Sleepwalking.
Yeah.
Non-deco romantic. What?
Oh, that's very good.
Calories.
A romantic calorie. Who doesn't like a Roman?
Well
done, mister. Would a sleepwalking nun be called a Roman Catholic? Very good. Good boy. Well done. And the Lord said to John, come forth and receive eternal life. But John came fifth and won a toaster instead. Fantastic. If the love of money is the root of all evil, then why do they ask for it in church? That's not a joke. That's a comment. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. One of those. And thank you, T-Duck. One of these for you as well. Superb. Have a fantastic weekend. Alison is off to buy some fresh fruit. Have a marvelous weekend. Or Penny is ignoring any research. Eat like our ancestors. Yeah, because they live to be 42. Solar Life, I'm only kidding, Penny. Solar Life, sure, for the cuttings there. Bon fin semana, everyone. A great show, guys, and thank you for mentioning our little festa. Have a great time, Pete. And yes, do send us some pictures. Have a wonderful weekend. Bon fin semana, friends. Ciao, ciao, amigos. Adios. And see you on Monday with Banana Slug. Ciao, ciao, and bye for now.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.